I'm ready now. So here we go, gentlemen. Everyone shush. Matt, go on the knock.
Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We've got an awesome guest here with us today. We've got Anthony Manzon. He's one of the 30 under 30 for Real Estate Nationwide. He's in San Diego here. So we've got a lot that we can talk about with him in terms of building a team under the age of 30. He spends 20 grand a year on personal development, which is awesome. We're going to talk about that with him, as well as how he generates leads in a very extremely competitive San Diego real estate environment. So we've got a lot of stuff to get into. First of all, my partner in crime, the co-pilot, the junior grandmaster himself is with us today. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
What up, pimp? Man, this is going to be a good damn show. I cannot wait to talk to Anthony, man. I've been watching the 30 under 30 list for a long period of time. Just have him on is going to be epic. All you fools out there to think you're doing something, you ain't done shit until you met this man. So this guy achieved some goals that a lot of people, you guys are trying and striving to achieve. Any of you guys who know what the 30 under 30 is, you obviously know his production and what he has to do to get there. Now, you guys are going to kind of pair up and see what he's doing. Take tidbits from him, guys, because the stuff he's going to drop is going to be epically awesome. As always, Matt, I have my yellow pad and my prehistoric writing device called a pen, ready to go to work. Let's do this.
Well, Anthony, give us a quick idea of kind of where you're at in the San Diego area and what do you have to do to hit like the 30 under 30 list?
Yeah, great question. Thanks you guys so much for having me on today. San Diego, where am I located? So really, I'm not really located in San Diego. I am located just 10 minutes south of San Diego called Chula Vista. It's kind of weird how San Diego is positioned. It goes San Diego, then right underneath that is Chula Vista, and then right under Chula Vista, San Diego again. So we're kind of like a weird spot in the middle of San Diego. But I service the Chula Vista area, about 10 minutes south of San Diego, and I love it there. I don't want to do business anywhere else.
Yeah. Dude, I have actually a good buddy of mine, Jose Del Rosario. He's an agent down in that neck of the woods that I've known for a long period of time. He got into coaching, then he got back into the real estate area. So I've actually spent some pretty good amount of time down in where you focus, and I like it, man. It's good. It's a good little neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a good little area right next to San Diego. It's newer housing, younger families, and I think that kind of attributes to the kind of clients that I attract are younger families, and that Chula Vista just seems to be populated with a bunch of those, so they naturally gravitated towards me.
That's cool, man. That is very, very cool. When we were talking about younger families, you were relating to us a quite a stressful situation you've been under for the last couple of hours, and then you had a big blessing a couple of months ago. So tell everybody how stressful life is, but you still made it, looking professional and looking good to the show.
Yes, of course. Well, crazy story. I just had my first baby 2 months ago. He's about 2.5 years old now. First baby. Woo-hoo. So cool. He was on my vision board. Now he's a real thing. And actually, 1.5 nights ago, my wife was having stomach pains, wasn't feeling too good. We took her to the ER, and turns out her appendix burst. And so her appendix burst. She had to go under surgery, and she just got back in this morning, like an hour ago. So I got her back home, rushed here, and here I am with you guys.
Dude.
Dedication. We appreciate it.
Dedication.
Dedication. Yeah. One thing that's cool, I had a big aha moment. I was sitting with my wife when she was on the surgery bed, and I was like, one thing that I'm so grateful that, real estate and putting in all this hard work and all this opportunities created for us is that, you're going under this emergency surgery, and to be honest, like the last thing I'm worried about is money. It's so cool that when you're set up and you put yourself, forward in life and you have a good savings, when you don't have to worry about the little things like money, you can really just focus on really what's important instead of like, oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost and all that crazy stuff. I have no idea how much this is going to cost, but all I know is like, I don't care. Like the most important thing is make sure my wife's healthy.
Yeah, that's a smart man because she's going to listen to this. Happy wife, happy life. I like it. You have a long lifespan in front of you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I thought we'd take a question real quick that'll get the old juices flowing before we kind of dive into your background. So this is from the lead gen scripts and objections page. As Taylor Fletcher says, situation: last week I fired my first client By the way,
Oh.
congratulations, Taylor. It
Yes.
was a very strange feeling having not done it before. The terms are too rigid. They wanted too much for it. They wouldn't take any of my advice. And I feel liberated, but that loss aversion is kicking in. So my question is, at what point do you cut ties with your client? And if you have you ever done that before, what was the outcome? So Anthony, let's start with you. Have you actually fired a client before? And if so, why?
You know what? To be honest, I kind of make that choice every single day. What the cool thing about when you lead generate a lot and you have a big business, you really get to choose the people that you want to work with. And almost every time you meet a client, of course, you want to be the one to provide them a great service and ultimately get them into a house or get them to sell their house. And up front, when you're meeting them, talking with them, sometimes it's just not a good fit. And to me, sometimes it's not worth it to work with someone who's going to make my life stressful, who's going to not have a good experience, regardless of how hard you work for them, how far backwards you bend for them. Some people, there's just no pleasing them. And to me, to be honest, it's not worth it. I would just rather refer it out. So
Yeah.
have I ever done that? I kind of do that every single day. If I feel like I'm not going to be a good fit for somebody, then we just choose not to work with them.
Yeah. So you try to prevent as much on the front end as you can. You just do you kind of look for people where you feel that like I don't resonate with that person at all. I don't like there's just something that rubs me the wrong way. Do you look for that and pay attention to that?
You know what? Because I'm a high energy person, I feel like I like to work with people who are other high energy, excited, happy people. If they're, a little bit lower, a little bit more slower, not as high energy, that's no problem. I can service them. But I think when they start challenging me in ways that are not logical, I'm just kind of like, they're going to push me the whole transaction. And one thing I learned very early is that you can do a lot of easy transactions working with great people, or you can work with very few hard transactions. Like 3 hard transactions will take the place of 10 easy transactions. And I would not want that, those hard transactions to take mind share and take energy from 10 other clients I could be working with.
Yeah, it's very true. You only bring your time and your knowledge into this business. So once you, allow someone else to hijack your time and energy, then you're going to be literally taking away positive, energy and positive experiences from the good people and giving it all to the negative people that are just taking and just destroying your soul a little bit. And it basically making you want to go take a sooner than later vacation because you're like, these people suck epically,
Seriously.
Oh, dude. I mean, I have a couple of past clients that I honestly hope I never see again. I mean, like if I never saw them, I'd be like, that is like okay. But then there's dozens and dozens and dozens of them. When I see them, I'm like, oh, homeboy, what's up? Big hug, how's life? What's new? Blah, blah, blah. And those are the people that you want to spend time with. And I think it's incredibly liberating, and both mentally and physically and emotionally when you release someone from working with them. I had a gal that I was working with. I call her hashtag worst client ever because she was the worst client ever. And I call that to her face, by the way. And I fired her and we both went our own ways. And I'm like, thank fucking Lord. You can go walk off a short pier, and go have a long, deep swim. But you know what? The funny thing is she resurfaced with me about a year, 6 months, 8 months ago. Dude, she's been a huge referral source because we're able to, find our differences. We became friends, and now she sent me 4 clients this year. But it's because of the firing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because of the firing, because of the relationship that had to be severed and rebuilt again. It's like anything else in life.
Yeah, that's amazing. Seriously, and working with great clients makes you love your job and makes you want to come to work. When you're working with those bad clients, they suck your energy. They make you not love what you want to do. And they make you kind of want to start looking at like other professions. Like, I don't want to deal with these kind of people. But if you surround yourself with like great clients, it makes you want to work harder. It makes you want to work harder, and you can work with more. So it's like a win-win-win. Like I do not like have a tolerance really for people that are not good clients, to be honest.
No, and I think that also gives you a really strong stance when you go in to work with a buyer or a seller. Because I was talking to someone this morning, they were going to go on a buyer consult, and they were kind of a little bit nervous. And I said to her, I'm like, well, why are you nervous about going to a buyer consult? She's like, well, am I going to be the right fit for them? I'm like, fuck their feelings, dude. Think about you. Are you the right fit for them? I mean, is it going to be the right fit together? Because if I say, Anthony, what's your wife's name?
Regina.
Okay. If I say, hey, Anthony, Regina, hey, I really look forward to working for you, but I want to make sure that we're going to be a good fit here. So I'm glad we're sitting down to be a buyer consult because I want to make sure I'm the right agent for you and you're the right client for me. That makes sense, right? How many agents actually go into it being willing to fire you on the first date? Being like, you know what? I just don't think we're a fit. Let me refer you to the agent I hate the most, and they can handle you. Okay, bye-bye, toodles.
There you go. Seriously, that is the best way to do it. I mean, we can talk about bad clients all day long, and I think the best cure for bad clients is lead generate a lot. When you have a lot of
That's
clients,
exactly what I wanted to get into because I'm curious. I mean, that really is the cure to everything is more leads than you need. So I'm curious, and I know everybody that is listening and watching to this right now will have this question. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Put likes or hearts or comments or whatever on the Facebook comments. But Anthony, we're curious, like what is the way that you generate leads so that you have more to choose from and you never walk into that consultation going, man, I really need this deal.
So our biggest lead source, to be honest, is open houses. I don't actually pay for any leads. We don't do Zillow. We don't do Trulia. We don't really do any website leads, just the ones that we can get for free. So we do Yelp. I would say of all the online things we do, Yelp is probably our best one. Like maybe this year we've probably done maybe 5 listings from Yelp, and last year maybe we got 10 total deals from Yelp. But other than that, to be honest, we're doing mostly open houses. From the very beginning, I was very big about doing open houses. Ben Kinney, a big KW agent, I read a quote that he said that if a new agent were to do 5 open houses a week, they will be in the top 1% of all realtors. And I was like, okay, then I'll do that. So in my first year, I did open houses every single day. I did a lot. And so I just built up a big book of people that I met at open houses. And now I just go back into that book of every single person that signed in, and I just keep calling them, and I'm still getting business from it today.
Now, how long have you gone back? Is that a couple of years? You know, how long have you been in the business? How long have you been doing open houses? Because that'll give people an idea of how long they need to do this until the overflow starts really coming back and paying their dividends.
Yeah, so I've been in the business now for 3.5 years. I've stopped doing open houses. Well, I did an open house last week, but consistently, like every single weekend, I stopped probably about a year ago. So when I was about 2.5 years in, my book is probably like this big of open house sign-in people, but my mentality around it was that, you know, as real estate agents, we don't really have like a product. You know what I mean? Like we don't have a car that's like, ooh, buy this, it's cool. Yes, listings are the closest thing, and yet we don't really have something tangible you can hold. The closest thing to that is open houses. And I was very like buyer heavy in the beginning. So I was like, well, I need to get a good product. So I did open houses for like every single agent I possibly could. I just looked for vacant ones and stayed there for as long as I could. I'd even stay at an open house for like 3 months and just put signs up every single day, put them down. Sometimes 1 or 2 people would come in, get enough people to sign in, and just keep calling in there. So, I mean, I just closed the deal with somebody that I met at like one of my very first open houses about 3 years ago. So I'm very good at follow-up. That's my thing, is following up. It's either you're going to find somebody that's looking to buy right now and that's expired or for sale by owner, or you're going to nurture them until they're ready. And I would say I'm really good at nurturing them.
Yeah, see, you're strong where I'm weak. Because I told it, I mean, I was going through a bunch of my old leads. Because I do a lot of mojo calling, triple line dialing, the whole 9. And I lost about 300 grand worth of commissions this year from not following up on hot and warm leads because I got so addicted just to going forward and finding the new business. Turned around, I'm like, shit. There's so many people that just like, oh yeah, we're just closing tomorrow. I'm like, oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
but it taught me a big lesson.
And that's the worst feeling in the world. That's the worst feeling in the world, and that's why I used to be very heavy in right now business, expired and for sale by owner, but whenever you get that call, that's like, oh yeah, we just bought a house, it makes you just like, you were in my database, I had a note to call you, for some reason I didn't, and so like minimizing that feeling is what helps me lead generate every day. But I have a good script for you guys that is my magic bread and butter script for follow-up. You want to know what it is?
Do it.
Okay, so it just goes like, ring, ring, blah, blah, blah. Hey, this is Anthony with Team Manzon. I hope you remember me. That's my favorite script right there, because whether they remember you or not, you kind of feel like you owe them. You know when you meet somebody and they're like, oh, hey, Greg, or do you remember me? And then you look at them like, oh, shoot, I owe this person because I don't remember you. I say that it's funny. The joke in my office is everybody knows that's my thing. I say, hey, I hope you remember me. Even if I spoke with them 3 years ago, 1 year ago, even sometimes people I haven't met, old expireds from 5 years ago. I call them and say, hey, I hope you remember me. We talked way back when your home was for sale on the market. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, Anthony, thanks for calling. It works every time. And
That is awesome. There's so many, because we talk about a couple of different things that we work on is that, how do you go and, talk with past clients? How do you go work with anyone else? And, that's a perfect thing. Hey, Matt, Julie, your 3 obese little wood denting, insulin sucking obese little babies. Man, I hope you remember me. And you're like, yeah. Oh, shit.
Of course, how could I forget?
mm-hmm.
You insult my wife and my children every time I talk to you. How could I not remember you? Man.
Your goal was like to try to get that feeling of being uncomfortable. You kind of want them to feel uncomfortable, like, oh shoot, who is this person? And then you kind of tell them a little bit. So my script is, hey, I hope you remember me. We met in an open house I was having, oh my gosh, a couple months back here in Chula Vista. Just call up to see if you found a house yet. It always starts with, I hope you remember me.
Now, how many times do you get a lot of people going, yeah, no, don't recall you? Because I don't think you're going to get a lot of those.
No, never. I never get that. So this is in the script is you give it a little bit of a pause. So it goes like this. Hey, this is Anthony with Team Manzon. I hope you remember me. We met at my open house I was having. So before you can say anything, you're kind of like, and I say, we met at my this, or we spoke 5 months ago, and then they're like, oh, okay, so like that feeling is gone. Now they're like comfortable talking to you again.
It's like, yeah, man, yeah. Oh shit, honey, who is he? Honey, what's his name? Where do we meet him? No, but that's phenomenal. You guys, huh?
Try it out. When you call old expired, just try it. Someone you've never talked to, say, hope you remember me. We spoke when your house was on the market 5 months ago. Just want to follow up, and they'll pretend they remember you.
You know what? I'm gonna see your script, and I'm gonna double it, because I'm gonna do it on cold calls. They've never met me, never talked to me, and I'm gonna straight up be like, yeah, hey, Anthony, hey, it's Greg McDaniel with J. Rockcliffe Realtors. Hey, I hope you remember me. But actually, I'm doing some follow-up calls today, and just go into it, and they'll be like,
That's great. I can't wait to hear you try that out in prospecting.
Yeah, try it out and just say, I hope you remember me. We spoke months back. Just say that, and then go into your script, and then they'll be like, what do you know?
Greg wouldn't know, but it's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, knowing Greg and how often he calls into the neighborhoods, that might actually be true, and Greg wouldn't even know it. They'll be like, yeah, Greg, I remember you. Yeah. You were that a-hole that called me about my house, and you asked me if I was ready to sell yet.
I'd be like, great. So you're ready now? Sounds memorable.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, I'm curious about this, Anthony, because you said that to follow up is one of your strengths. So give me an idea of kind of what that looks like, and what type of, what's your favorite type of lead to follow up on, and what does your follow-up process look like?
Yeah, so my favorite lead to follow up on is my old open house leads. I mean, I do get eventual leads, like website leads through Yelp reaching out to us. But when I go into like prospect and I go to make my 20 contacts per day, I just go into my database. I think I have like maybe 3,000 people in there now. It's not as organized as I'd like it to be. And yet 3,000 numbers, if I say, I hope you remember me enough times, people will uncover that they're ready to do business.
It's interesting you say that, because psychologically, if you say it enough, that's only what they know. They only know to the fact that, hey, I hope you remember me. They're like, oh, crap. Then you say, I hope you remember me. They're like, oh, shit, that is not happening a third time. Anthony, what's going on? Yes, I remember you. It's really fascinating to try that. See, I wasn't going to do live teaching today because I'm super, super tired this afternoon. But you have inspired me, my young friend. You have inspired me. You're like a cattle prod to me. Just get out there and try a new script, Greg, because I can't help myself. It's awesome. It's amazing. You guys are writing this down.
There you go. And it's funny because even some of my clients say it to me now. Like, I did an open house. I left that message, and he called me back, leaving the same message. Like, hey, this is X. I hope you remember me. We met at your open house, 2 weeks ago. Like, they just say the script back to me. It's pretty cool.
On purpose, or they just like picking on you, like going.
No, I think just like it got into their brain because I've left so many messages that say, I hope you remember me. Like, even when I leave messages, I say, I hope you remember me. And they just say back, and it's pretty cool. Like, it just works every time. And like, they feel like they owe you. Like, that's the feeling I try to create, is like, you owe me because you don't remember me. And then their nights suck, you know.
It's funny. All right. Well, I want to get into a couple more things, including Yelp and kind of the ways that you're connecting with your ideal demo. Because I know for a lot of people that are in the audience, that's going to be their ideal client too. Is like young families, they're looking to go either from apartment or condo into their first house, or maybe they got a small house and now they need to move up into their next house. So there's a ton of people that are watching that want to go after that demographic, and we'll talk about that. But Anthony, give people an idea of what is the best way to connect with you. Especially, I think Walter that's watching actually might have a referral for you. Hopefully, he's not joking around because he got something in North Park. But what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, great question. You can either call me directly on my cell phone at 619-306-1792, or you can email me at Anthony, which is my first name, at teammanzon.com. Either of those two ways. I respond pretty good at those.
All right, awesome.
Nice.
And then Greg, for us, would you like to tell people how they can connect and learn more about Getting Out Business?
Lurk in the bushes wearing a tan trench coat, jump out and scare the crap out of Matt when he's on his walk with his beautiful girlfriend. No, don't do that. She'll probably kill you. But no, follow us on Facebook, guys. Follow us there. Matt and I cannot refriend. Matt, I literally cannot accept any more friendships. Matt won't accept any more friendships. So there's a difference. But you guys, if you like this, you're gonna love my live prospecting. Anthony has given me a new script to try out today. I'm going to go get my ass handed to me. It's going to be fantastically fun because I get to try a new script and take the asshole out of them. But follow us on Facebook, guys. Go to getnowbusiness.com. I'll put it in here in the link to learn about our new course. It's going to be coming out July 10th because I will be napping on July 3rd before the July 4th holiday, Matt, which is something you should try. But you guys try this. It's going to be where you're going to be able to get now business, learning scripts like you just heard from Anthony without doing any cold calls, without doing any door knocks, without doing anything difficult. When you have to interact with another human being on a cold level, we have taken that away from you. It has now been blessed to you and is in the chat log.
Awesome.
There you go.
So Anthony, let's dive back in a little bit and share what you mean when you say you get a lot of people coming in through Yelp. Like what's your strategy there, and what are they coming in off of? What's the source for how that brings in leads to you?
Yeah, so we just, we go into Yelp and we type in real estate or realtor and just see which realtor has the most reviews. And our mission was just get more reviews than that person. So I would say I've been focused intently on Yelp for the past, we started November of last year. So so a little bit more than a year and a half now. I think we have like 65-star reviews. The most person in our market maybe had only like 40 at the time. So as soon as we were just very intentional in getting a lot of reviews. We had client appreciation parties. We had raffles like, hey, for every 5-star review you give us, at our past clients, we're going to put you in a raffle for an iPad. We were just so intentional in getting all of those reviews. And people in our market are using Yelp to find realtors right now. So I don't know if it's working in other markets, but for ours, in Chula Vista, Yelp is a huge thing for us.
All right. Interesting, Matt. Well, because Matt, you've talked about Jeff Kona in Omaha about how Craigslist is such a big lead generator from him. Anthony, I'm interested to see if you use Craigslist at all as well.
No, I don't use Craigslist at all. No. I know Craigslist was huge. Like before I got into the business, I heard Craigslist was big, but we don't use it at all now.
Yeah, if you want, pedophiles and drugs and hookers, Craigslist is your number one stop. But I have not found a lot of clients on Craigslist, so I'm in your camp, Anthony. Thank you, brothers unite.
There you go.
well, let's go deeper into the reviews thing. So essentially, you have people that are looking for agents, but they're looking for credibility. So you're solving that problem by getting a bunch of reviews and stuff like that. But what's give us some of the practical kind of tactical stuff for how you get the reviews. Who are you going to? Who are you asking for reviews from? When are you asking? And how are you making it easy so they don't get tripped up by just the technology part of it?
Yeah, so the cool thing about Yelp is all they need is a Yelp account. I think on Zillow, that's like one of the hardest reviews to get. So we actually don't even have a lot of Zillow reviews. We focus so much on Yelp because of how easy it is. So Zillow and Google Plus are the ones that we really go after. Google Plus, that one's the easiest. Everybody has a Gmail, so it's really easy to get a review. But I would say in the transaction, you definitely want to get one review from each spouse, like one from the husband, one from the wife. Anybody that comes into contact with you through real estate, you can ask them for reviews. We've had someone reach out to us, ask us if we do rental properties, and we're just open and upfront. We say, we don't do rental properties. I'm sorry, but this is a website you can use. And then he logged off, and we asked him still for a review, like, hey, if you're happy with our service, please give us a review. And he gave us a review. So you just have to be very intentional. Like everybody can give you a review, just be intentional after the transaction. My assistant follows up with them forever, kind of like how I follow up with my clients forever to get the reviews from them.
Something that we did in the very beginning of our podcast to get reviews for iTunes, like you, I was very, very intentional. Matt knows where I'm going with the story. So I literally walked around to all of the different people in my office. I'm like, do you have an iPhone? They're like, yeah. I'm like, give it to me. And I'm like, iTunes, subscribe, review. Most amazing podcast. It's changed my life in multiple ways. If I wasn't without this podcast, I wouldn't be in this business anymore. Click, review, done. And it can be at that level too. I mean, it's all coming from different different phones. They're all legitimate, reviews done by you. And you know what? It's some way that you can get this thing jump started so people can actually see that you are legit in the business. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, if you're new in the business and you want to get reviews, Anthony, I want to hear your take on this, okay? And Matt, I want to hear your take as well. If you haven't done any business, don't lie about doing business. Have people talk to your character, to your ethics, to your work ethic. Talk to the traits that you do have legitimately good qualities about and good attributes. I mean, Anthony, would you think that would work well for a new agent that's trying to get reviews?
Oh, that's totally it. I mean, if you're persistent and you practice scripts are huge. Practice your scripts every day. You have to know that deep down you are the best person for the job, even if you haven't done deals yet. If you know, like deep down, you're the best person for the job, then it's going to come out through your script, through your voice, and they're going to want to work with you. When I was brand new in the business, everybody knows the average realtor closes 3 to 5 transactions a year. And when I was brand new and I didn't have any deals yet, I was telling people, you know what, my goal this year is to close 24 transactions in my first year. And the average agent does 3 to 5 a year. So, I didn't tell them I didn't do one, but I told them my goal was much bigger than the average. And that's what they really wanted to hear. And that's what they thought about. So they never really asked me if I was brand new. I just told them my goal is to close this. And they thought like, oh, if your goal is that big, then you must be a good realtor then.
Yeah, because it also bonds them to you. It gamifies the whole entire situation. Because if you haven't done a single deal, where you're like, you know what, the average does 3 to 5 deals. My goal is to do 25. I really need your help, guys. Who do you know that I should know to go talk to if you're not going to be buying or selling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just that script alone psychologically conveys that you are not an average agent, even if on paper, on numbers, you haven't done squat, or maybe you are average right now because you haven't had the time to prove it. But yeah, that using that phrase, that terminology, that hey, the average agent does this, my goal is to do this, that automatically sets you apart and kind of puts you in that camp. So I love that. But yeah, it's interesting, as you said, knowing deep down that you are the best person for the job. Greg, you and I were talking about this in the recording for a new course we're working on for new agents, and how important it is to know, just to build your own skills and your own knowledge of the market, so that internally, you can look somebody in the eye and say, look, I'm the best person for this job because this, this, and this. So I'm curious, Anthony, what was that for you, where you said, this is what I'm going to rest my confidence on. And this is how I'm going to explain to new clients why I'm the best person for the job, even though you don't have necessarily the track record yet to prove it at that point.
I would say, I mean, to be honest, there's a huge gap between the really good realtors and the really bad realtors. And when we go on the MLS, you can find out who the not so great realtors are just by looking at the most basic thing you can, their photos. And I knew that even if I never even had a listing yet, I wasn't going to do, I think it's harder to do 3 pictures, to be honest, than to just hire a professional to do it. So it's obvious they're intentionally not going to try to do photos. And I knew at the very least, I could at least put good pictures of your house. You know what I mean? So I knew deep down that I was going to do that. I knew that, when you first start, if you have 5 years experience, 10 years experience, when you're brand new, to bridge that gap, you have to do as much work as that person, or actually outwork that person and practice harder than that person to bridge that gap. So all I was doing was practicing my scripts every day for an hour, lead generating. I did a lot of door knocking, a lot of open houses, just practicing on my clients, I would say. I did a lot of practicing with myself, and then I went into a lot of listings I did not get, and they were all really good learning experiences for me. So I knew I was committed to being great, and that's what just kept me going. You know, my big thing was rookie of the year. That my first year in the business. I just went for rookie of the year, and I did whatever it took to get there.
You know what I really liked that what you just said? Your mindset was so strong. Your big why was bigger than any no you were ever going to get. And when you didn't get the listings, yeah, it stung a little bit. I'm sure it did. But you know what? It didn't let you didn't stop there. You're like, okay, I lost the listing. And then what did I do wrong? Did you go back and do, a recap on them? Be okay, I did this right, ooh, yep, that's the landmine I stepped on. Okay, let's correct it or eliminate it. Now, next. Here's a potential idea, guys. I've talked about it a couple of times. If you don't want to make a $25,000 mistake, which Anthony, I'm sure you've made a few of those, aka losing the commissions, right? Guys, go out there on Facebook, and this you can again gamifying this. Go out on Facebook. Say, hey, I'm going to go create a coupon with a local restaurant or business or something, and say, hey guys, I'll give you whatever coupon this is or discount if you allow me to come in and I can practice my listing presentation on you guys for no more than 45 minutes. That way you can practice live fire, get the results back from those folks, give them something in return, build a rapport and a bond with them, and then stay in contact with them through Facebook, through email, drips, and everything else, because they might know somebody. They might be so impressed with you, going, "Wow, this kid or this guy, this gal, this man, this woman really is a hustler." I mean, that took some balls, to come out here and really go live fire with this stuff and take time out of their lives. I mean, I don't like losing out listing presentations either, but it's all about knowing. Terry, the grandmaster, my dad, the founder of our team, he always says, when I'd get down, he'd be like, Greg, there's always another boxcar coming down the rails. That means there's always another listing. There's always another buyer. Don't get hung up on the loss right now. Just keep moving forward. Keep your vision straight. And that was what really helped me a lot. There's people in this business, not you, Anthony, obviously not you, but get derailed because they have friends or family or people that they don't know that work with other agents, and they take it so personally that they have to go hide and go run away from that experience, when in reality they just said no to you because you weren't the right fit for them. And I love your mindset about how you didn't let stop
follow up and they didn't even think about you.
Oh, shut up.
Well, not directly.
Is that a personal jab?
No, I'm not talking about your friends and family, Greg. I just mean most of us are bad at that. We are very bad at keeping in touch with our like the inner circle of our database. There was a guy told a story one time. He's owns one of the biggest mortgage companies out on the East Coast. They've done it like they do $1 billion in loans a year. I mean, this is a guy that flies to his events on a private jet, and his aunt reached out to him and said, hey, I just bought a new home and I closed on a mortgage with Wells Fargo. I know you do like something with loans or something. I'd love for you to take a look at it and just review it and make sure that everything is on the up and up. And he's like, what? And that was the owner of a loan company that did $1 billion in loans. So we all do that. We all make that mistake. It all happens to us.
Yeah, one thing that I learned about nurturing and following up is that the transactions are going to happen whether you're there or not. But lead generation, that is your opportunity to intersect that opportunity. Like, it's going to happen. You're just lead generating to get in the way of it. And if you get in the way of enough opportunities, they're going to stick. Some deals will stick if you have enough opportunities and just lead generate.
Yeah, it's a contact sport. The more contacts you make, the more opportunities at bats you have, the more deals you'll do. Like, I went by and dropped off C's Candy today to people that were just nice to me on the phone. I had no clue. I talked to one lady by the name of Faye. This is Faye, and talked to her for half a second at the front door. Did not know she was going to do anything. She was just nice to me. She's like, I'm going to remember you in 9 months when I sell. I'm like, that's the best box of C's Candy ever. And it's just because there was the bats. I love how you just, the deals are going to get done. You got to get in the way of them and intersect it and take the opportunity.
That is a great way to think about it, because I think we all kind of think about lead generation almost as if we're creating something out of thin air that doesn't exist. And I think that trips us up a lot, Anthony. That is a brilliant way of looking at it, in the sense that, hey, there's a flow of things already going on out there. All I got to do is just plant myself at the intersection and be there so that I'm the one they think about when stuff that's going to happen anyway goes to happen. So Let's get into the lead generation side a little bit deeper on the expired and FSBOs, because it sounds like you went after them when you're, I mean, you're still reasonably new. You're 3.5 years deep into the business, so you don't have a ton of experience under your belt. At what point did you start actively going after FSBOs and expireds, and what was that experience like as a fairly new agent?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a big business off of expireds and for sale by owners, but I did do a lot of lead generation for them. Just I haven't developed those skills to really convert them. It's just because the nurturing was so strong on other ones. But what I would do is in bold with Keller Williams Realty, they would always provide us with all the expireds and for sale by owners, and I didn't care. I just called every single one of them, and sometimes I would end up talking to them, doing open houses, and I would find expireds not through the cold calling way. So I think it's just I have to develop a system that's going to work for me. For instance, find out all the expireds. And I thought about this, just haven't been able to implement it. But when I have a mega open house, I door knock all the neighbors, find the expireds, confront them up front like, hey, I understand you were trying to sell your home 5, 6 months ago. I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me, but this is how I do business. Come to my mega open house this weekend and see how I do business. And when you put it out there for them, they see the 40 signs you put up, they see the big flags, they see the 50 people in there. Then when they see your sale sign with the sold sign on it the weekend after, that's what they're really looking for. I mean, I think that'll work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I just haven't had the opportunity yet to make that happen yet. But that's like next on my list for systems to attack my expireds and for sale by owners.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy to try. I don't, whether it's effective or not compared to some of the other things you could say to an expired, who knows? There's no way to find out other than just to try it. But I can tell you that's definitely an indirect but high value approach. So yeah, I'd love to see, if you try that and implement it, and I'd love to hear the results of that, because I think it could potentially work. It just depends on how jaded the market is, and I think something valuable might be to put together, I think Dave Pinnell, we've had him on the show before. He does open houses down in Houston, and he put together like almost a trailer video for what his open house looks like. And it's really, really good. I mean, you can see all the signs, and you can see like the, 60, 70 people coming through this open house. There's time lapse photography and stuff like that. If you have anything like that where you could send it to them, that may like get that foot in the door for a listing appointment right on the first call.
I'm writing something down. I love this idea.
Yeah.
I think that you guys can go to local colleges. You guys can go to Craigslist, not for what you think, and you can find videographers that can work for cheap or zero money. Take that and give it to an editor, and you can do like a trailer, like you were saying, Matt, and you could really that could be in your pre-listing package as your go-to. Like, hey, look, this is how I do open houses. This is how the other agents do open houses. Yours is all color and vibrant. The other one's all black and white. And there's like one sign. It gets blown over by the wind. Tumbleweeds blowing by it.
Oh my God, that would make the greatest infomercial ever. Like, just starts with like a black and white, like the tumbleweed goes across the screen, and then it pans to some agent's open house sign. There's nobody there.
All black and white.
Man,
the guys dressed
awesome.
like clothes straight out of Walmart, that were like from 1977, bell bottoms. Hiya, that'd be. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with that. Anyways, I'm not gonna take the show up that.
All right, well, I wanted to ask you real quick, Anthony, about the whole bold thing, because you take it like 3 or 4 times a year. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I first started, Gary Keller in the beginning says, I want you to take bold 10 times. And when you're that successful and they tell you to do something, you just do it. So I was on a mission for 10, and I just signed up for my 12th bold. It starts actually tomorrow, my 12th one. I went consistently just every single time. It comes 4 times a year to San Diego. And if anything, bold is just all about mindset. For me, what I know is that in order to be successful in this business, you have to be in the zone. Now, like, how do you trick yourself into staying in the zone the longest? And I know when I go to bold, like, that tricks me to stay in the zone. So when you stay in the zone, you do more business. When I'm not in bold, I don't do as much business. My family doesn't deserve that. My clients don't deserve it. So I leave too much money on the table when I don't take bold.
So let me ask you something, Anthony. And this is, I'm not being, at all trying to be rude in the slightest, but what is stopping you when you're not in bold to keep the same mindset? Is it accountability? Is it just the culture? Why does that happen for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say it's my opportunity to really reflect on myself and my business. When we're in our business, we're kind of looking I think the difference is when you transition from a transactional based business where how do I find the next deal, and you transition your mindset to how do I build a big business, they're two very different conversations. And I think that's what keeps agents from doing a lot of production and actually building a team. Because when you build a team, it can't be just about transactions. It's how do you unlock your team members' potential to get them to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And when you're like sitting down at your desk, you're focused on transactions, And I think it's my opportunity to reflect upon myself, reflect upon my business, and part of it is culture, part of it is accountability. I would say for Bold specifically, it's just that environment. It's the environment that we're in.
Yeah, Greg, we've talked about this a little bit before, but like the events, like you in the context of us building like a team of people throughout California, you and I briefly talked about the role of transformational experiences, like emotional transformational experiences, stuff that only happens typically at events. And I think this is a great example of that, where yes, there you can establish kind of a baseline of performance, and you can establish you can get into that rhythm of being switched on, right? But you need those like that. The natural pace of life is that's going to get gradually diminished because your emotions are not designed to like operate at absolute peak all the time, right? So they're going to gradually decrease over time. So you need those experiences to amp up the emotions and get you refocused and get you like reconnected with the emotional pull of that, the thing that's pulling you towards that, your big why. You have to kind of reconnect with that, reconnect with your values. And I think that's where something like that comes into place, whether it's Bold or whether it's a Tom Ferry conference or whether you go to Tony Robbins or whatever. Like, I think all of us as human beings, there's a reason why, revival camp meetings have existed for hundreds of years and just stuff like that. Like, we all need that, whether you're religious or spiritual or not. We need those occasional like emotional experiences that cause us to reconnect with something deep inside that kind of help us hit a new plateau. And then we plateau for a while. We can ride off that for a while until we need the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is
and
true.
I think also too. Oh, I was gonna say Bold, so it helps weekly. I do it, and it's 8 weeks each time. I'm 32. I'm in Bold.
Yeah.
It's just like going to a conference or anything else. You get there, you get the high, you get the motivation, and then the high wears off. The other day, talking with a guy, good buddy of mine, used to be my coach. He kicked me squarely in the nuts, pissed me off enough, and now this conversation is reminding me of that conversation, and it's refiring me up. And then you're right, it did diminish because I got caught up with the minutia of the business, and you need to have a group or an organization or a person or a team of people to keep that fire lit at all times. I mean, that is like, so if you're going to use a fire as an example, how does a fire stay lit? Constant flow of oxygen, something that's constantly feeding it. And that fire can get really big if you get enough oxygen, right? Like going through Bold enough and you achieving the goals you want and seeing your successes, that now you're burning with white gas now. But a lot of people are just lighting the match right now. So let's say they're not a part of Keller Williams. You can go to Bold even if you're not part of Keller, right?
Correct. Yes. If you're not part of Keller, you can go to Bold.
Okay, so guys, there is no excuse for your bitch asses. If you want to do what he does, get in there and start doing Bold immediately.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes.
All right, well, Anthony, let's talk about, in the last few minutes that we have left, I want to talk about the team aspect of it. So give us an idea of kind of the breakdown and structure of your team as it is right now, and we'll go through kind of how you got there and what your first steps were to doing that.
Yeah, so our team structure right now is we have 3 sales agents and we have 3 admin agents, or 3, I guess, support staff. It's myself and 2 other sales agents. The 2 other sales agents, they're pretty new, about 8 months in the business right now also. So I think I naturally attracted younger people, which is great, but they're absolutely killing it now. The way we structure our business with the 3 admin, we have one is my wife. So my wife works with us. She's the operations manager. She creates all the crazy ideas I have. She creates them and makes them happen on paper. We have one admin. She's the person who does the marketing and all the updates and manages the offers and everything. And then we have our escrow manager. Our escrow manager, he's honest. Without him, I don't know how we can do a lot of transactions. I'm pretty spoiled now, to be honest, because of him. In Bold, they always say that a productive real estate agent's job description should be to lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts and scripts and role play. So for me or any agents on my team, that's all that you're doing is lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and scripts and role play. So all they do is lead generate. Once they get an escrow, my escrow manager takes over it. He goes to the inspection. He negotiates the request for repairs. The agents to show up at the end with the keys and to take pictures. And the reason why we did that, this was like my big breakthrough from last year, was I had like 10 escrows going at one time, and I was really excited about that. And I was just having all these problems. And my coach, I was talking to her, and I was just like, she was like, Anthony, you haven't opened any escrows in the past 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, I have 10 escrows and I'm having like all these problems. And she's like, well, wasn't your goal next year to do 100 transactions? And I said, yes. And so she's like, well, either you have to make peace with the problems or find somebody that's going to handle all your problems for you. And I was like, ding, I need to find someone that's going to handle all my problems, because like we talked about earlier, problems slow you down. Yeah. So if you handle someone that handles all your problems, you don't have to answer your phone after 5 o'clock anymore. They like to problem solve. They do the request for repairs. None of that slows you down. You could just lead generate and get appointments and get listings all day, and he's like our MVP of the team, because our agents are so spoiled, because they don't like, what's to stop them from, building their own team is like, well, you can do more business with us because those problems will slow you down, where we hired somebody to do that for us.
Yeah, I am just like you, my friend. Midori. Midori is filling in. She's a new agent. She's filling in for Eileen. Eileen is our team manager. Dude, she does all of that to the point where, like, I'll show up for, like, to negotiate, like a request for repairs or something. She will she'll print out the request for repairs. She'll highlight the parts of the reports that I need to look at in regards to what's in the request. I go, let's scan it, call the agent, blah, 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 yakety schmackety, boom, done, get it handled, move on, and then she does all the rest of it. And she handles all, dude, she just had twin baby boys, so we're not making her hands for phone calls. But she if she was on vacation, she takes the phones with her. She answers it on the weekends. Guys, if you find that person, pay them more than what they're worth, because they are worth more than what the average society says that they're worth. Because if they're worth 50 grand, pay them 75. Best decision you've ever made. Ever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The best. I honestly, I would not go back any other way. The problems of transactions make this business not fun, to be honest. It's like you go to bed and you're like, oh my God, what do I do about this problem? And, they handle all the problems. If a buyer, I don't even, to be honest, even talk to the clients about requests for repairs. He's the one who talks to the clients about the requests for repairs. The stubborn clients that say, I don't want to do this and I do that. Even those little problems have mind share. Like, oh, great. Now I got to talk to the other agent, tell them what he's going to do and what he's not going to do. And then they're going to want you to ask them, can you do a little bit more? Like, I don't even have those conversations, and neither do my agents on the team. So we just made it as easy as possible for our agents, so they want to stay on the team long term.
Are you looking for a new team member? Because I'm volunteering. Headache-free real estate. Here we go.
Right, come on.
Chula Vista.
There we go.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so it's the 6 of us right now.
Anthony, remind people of how they can connect with you, especially if they have something in the San Diego Chula Vista area.
Yeah, so my direct cell phone number, 619-306-1792, or you can reach me on my email, Anthony@teammanzon, MANZON.com.
Very cool. All right, Greg, and remind people of how and why they should check out Get Now Business or connect with you, whatever you want to say.
So not connect with you? You agoraphobe. You're saying this side again.
I just knew that you would say yours first. How's that?
I know
you too well.
I was actually going to say, guys, Matt's address is 123 Main Street in Anywhere, USA. He has large juniper bushes, remember, trench coat, jump out, rawr. It's a lot of fun. Guys, go ahead and follow me on Facebook. Follow me if you guys like what you like this podcast at all. I do live lead generation. Matt is going to get back into his live lead gen, or not live lead gen, but live Facebook lives, because he's got a lot of knowledge stuffed up in his noodle that he's going to give out to you in very large doses. So make sure you turn the volume just lower so you can pick it up. Okay, so Go to getnowbusiness.com, guys. It's our new business, new class we are running. Don't worry, no fear. You do not have to interact and do live scripting whatsoever unless you raise your hand and say you want to. Matt and I will take the heavy lifting on that for you guys and show you, tonality, delivering the scripts, timing, the whole gig. It'll be a lot of fun, and we actually, and you guys will enjoy getting time with us. We are actually as weird on the show as we are in person. So yes, your questions have been answered for the day. I will put the link in here for Get Now Business. Matt, tell them how they will not follow you. I mean, follow you. Sorry.
Follow us on Facebook. Do not friend us. The best way is to follow each of us individually on our personal profiles. You can also like our Facebook page, Real Estate Uncensored, or join the Facebook group. We also encourage you to join the Lead Gen Scription Objections Facebook group run by our good friend Aaron Wittenstein. There's a lot of great agents in that community helping each other out with scripting, objection handlers, and a lot of the stuff that not just newer agents, but agents that are in the trenches every day, the challenges that they face. So join those, and go to our website, reuncensored.com. You can keep track of all the cool stuff that we're doing, whether it's events, whether it's classes, whether it's courses, everything that you need that's Real Estate Uncensored related. You can go there to the website and get that.
You can, guys. Also, if you want to go live to multiple different Facebook groups, different pages simultaneously without any muss or fuss, go into the group you're watching this on, or if you go to Lead Gen Scripts, click on the Live Leap link at the top. You guys can take a free trial, no strings attached on that, guys, and you'll be able to try it out and be seen by more people, and get your footprint even bigger. But Matt, Anthony, peace out, ninjas. We go.
Woo, thanks for having me, guys.
Namaste.